Hey, it's Maren, and in this video we're talking about what my new moon ritual is, how you can cultivate a new moon practice, and use witchcraft to make the most of new moon energies. So new moons are times of new beginnings, of planting seeds for the next 6 months to come in whatever area of life they're happening in for you, which represents whatever house that sign of the new moon is for you in your birth chart. And that's another video, another topic, but generally they're times of setting an intention and cultivating that for the next period to come until the full moon, which is 6 months later. So it's a good time to set the intentions for what you want to grow and what you want to begin in that area of your life. For knowing where this is hitting you in your chart, I always run through that in my forecasts, which are linked down below. Otherwise, you can pretty much figure it out by knowing your birth chart and then knowing what sign the new moon is in, and then being like, okay, new beginning there, cool, I will look to what that house means and what I want to start there. Because the sun and the moon are together in the same sign, both the energies of the masculine and the feminine are held together and emerging for us to use in order to find that equilibrium balance in that area of life to grow forward from. Whereas the full moon is a culmination, the new moon is a beginning. Like I talk about in my witchcraft video linked down below, witchcraft is not in and of itself about these rituals, but these rituals help us connect into the powers that we have within us to manifest and use our internal technology for the physical result. So by using a new moon ceremony or incorporating a astrological ritual around the new moon, you can harness that energy more effectively to align your vibration into bringing what you want forth. Light's a little bright here. Okay, that's a little better. So for example, if a new moon is happening in my 7th house of relationships, I might want to create a ceremony that invokes the energy of the kind of partner that I want to attract, send that out into the universe and see what I get back. Or if there's a new moon in my 2nd house of finances, maybe I align myself with the feeling of abundance, bring in a ceremony that feels aligned to me with the energy of what abundance feels like, and send that out. For me personally, I've always felt connected to fire energy. I have a lot of fire in my chart. And so what speaks to me is a candle ceremony, so I can look into the flame, use that fire of transformation to transform my thoughts into reality. And whatever speaks to you is great. Some people really like fire as well, but they burn up, they like write their intention down and then burn it up. Some people love baths and then like pouring oils in the bath and using that as the water drains as a kind of send out signal. Other people like to attach writing onto a balloon and release that into the air. I know balloons are like not the most eco-friendly. I think there's like other ways to do air. I don't do that, so I'm not that's just an example of if you have like air energy and you're wanting to do that, could send things, tape it to birds, I don't know. There's also grounding, like burying intentional things, and grounding is important for all layers of this, which I'll get into. But basically, first step that you want to do is think about the intention that you want to set. What energy does that invoke? What are you wanting to attract? Find that energy within yourself, and that will be the basis for your ceremony. The ceremony or the ritual will deliver back to you the energy that you're putting out. It's a time of the new beginning within.
I'm not sure I understand.
Oh my God. Finding the resonance within yourself that can then be mirrored back to you in the world. So it all starts within you, and that's the purpose of every ceremony. So for me, what I'll do is I will ground myself first thing in a grounding meditation. If you've never meditated, you can find these online for like just a 5-minute grounding meditation on YouTube. They're super easy and they get you in the state of mind of centered within yourself. I actually do these most mornings. I do a longer meditation most mornings for grounding because grounding is something I'm working on. But for the purpose of a ritual, you really want to be grounded. You might even go grounding literally, putting your bare feet into the dirt of the earth. Even though I live in New York, I do live really close to Tompkins Square Park, so I could technically do this, but the Virgo in me is really finicky and doesn't like getting shit dirty, so I don't actually ground. I just do a grounding meditation. But if you live near dirt or have a backyard, ground into the earth. That's really helpful to center your energy. Also, cleansing your space can be important. Using sage or Palo Santo. I don't recommend either of those because both are kind of endangered, so unless you're indigenous to growing those, I recommend alternatives like cedar or sweetgrass is my favorite. I think it smells the best. But anything you have on hand for energetically cleansing the energy that you're hosting your ritual at, which I will use the example of a candle because that's what I am most familiar with and what I do and what a lot of people do. You can also charge crystals under the new moon. I like to put my crystals in a bit of sea salt. Put that under a window, and it's a time for them to get cleansed and charged. But that's not necessarily the ritual. That's just under new moons, I put my crystals under a window and in salt and let them cleanse a bit. So with my candle then, after I have grounded, I've cleansed my space, I then use a candle. I like to get these custom carved candles from a witchcraft shop near me, but I would love to learn how to carve them myself, so I will be starting that soon. Maybe I can do a video on like my journey to learning how to carve custom candles, because this witchcraft shop near me does a really beautiful job of using specific oils and specific patterns to align the energy. So I just have a specific candle here for whatever my new moon intention was. I believe this one was to attract supportive relationships around me. I put this on my altar, which this is my witchcraft altar, just where I perform my spells and whatnot. Generally, I do invoke a deity that aligns me even more with that energy. So for this one, I just thought of Venus and her energy, because sometimes, you know, I'll use Kali or Shiva or some Hindu gods and deities in that way, or other times I use planetary archetypes. So what I was really going here was ease and harmony, so I thought of Venus. I used some Venus oil that I have from a really awesome brand, Sphere and Sundry, led by Caitlin Kopic, like awesome astrologer and witch herself. Highly recommend all of her planetary magic thingamajiggies. I will link her below. So I used 2 Venus oils that I have from her, Venus and Pisces oil and Venus and Taurus oil, and I just put those on myself before I lit the candle. As I was lighting it, I just did a mental invocation to Venus. Sometimes I will do them audibly if there's a specific one I want to use. Otherwise, I will simply tap into that energy myself, really focus on invoking it, and see what comes up that way. Then afterwards, the candle will be burning for about 2 days, 3 maybe longer days after that. But after I light the candle, for a minute there, I simply watch the candle flame, and often the candle flame will bring up pretty vivid imagery in the way it dances, and I simply align myself even further with the energy of what I want to attract, and until I find closure, or like it's off on its own, which is usually a few minutes, not very long. I then do my little namaste. I thank my guides, I thank myself, my higher self, for allowing me to manifest, and I send it off. I take it pretty easy on new moons. I'm not watching, you know, horror films. I like to center my energy. So the rest of the night is really trying to align specifically with the energy still of what I'm wanting to attract. If it was relationships that support me that day, you know, I'm thinking about how I can support myself. If it's attracting abundance or whatnot, you know, how can I treat myself? So that echoes out into micro decisions further on that will then further enhance everything that you're trying to attract. So my ritual is not complicated. It's not extreme. It's not, you know, expensive. I mean, I am buying the candles, but I can carve them myself. I'm not looking outside of myself. I'm finding all the energy within me, and I'm using tools that I think are fun and cute and shit to help me, because I really like the candles and the fire energy. But find out what speaks to you. Whatever allows you to think of a clean slate and building upon is the right choice for you. This is what works for me, and it's not a one-size-fits-all prescription, but if you have a Leo stellium too, maybe candle magic is right up your alley. So I hope you found this helpful. Let me know below if you have a new moon ceremony that you are used to working with, if you have a process that you love to do. Maybe it's cards. I do like to do new moon spreads just with my oracle deck. So if you like this, please like, subscribe, do all the things, and make sure that you're hitting the notification bell, because in my next video I will be talking about using witchcraft spells to specifically attract what you want. It all goes back to the law of attraction, kind of understanding energetics and quantum whatnot, but I will be doing a video on that. Otherwise, thank you for watching. If you want astrology consultations, astrology, mentoring, schooling, all that shit down below. Otherwise, I will see you in the next video.